Boom, we're live. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Podcast Success Secrets. I actually haven't gone live in the group in a while. It's probably been over a month. So really excited to get back into it. At one point, I was doing like daily lives. It was getting pretty crazy. So we actually have some big interviews coming this week too. Tomorrow, Sean Kemp. He's a big copywriter, and then Friday we have Jim Edwards, which is going to be really exciting from Funnel Scripts at ClickFunnels. So. But today, we have someone really cool on who I just met from a mutual friend, Carla. Carla White, I know you listen to the show. Shout out if you're listening. But you told me about what you were doing, man. How you're if you guys are in the ClickFunnels world, which most of you guys are. Gabe is also in the 2 Comma Club X program, but he's had massive success this year in a niche that you don't hear a lot of people in. I'm not going to spoil it, but a lot of the stuff I want to talk about is like some of the tactics he's used to build or even just build a business with no social media following, using growth hacks, etc., and understanding what you've learned from your market and how people can apply it to whatever market they're in, like just the principles in general. So, dude, for people who don't know who you are, Gabe, you've had massive success, but can you explain what you do and why you're awesome?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. First of all, thank you so much for having me on. I'm a big fan of what you do. You work with the best of the best with Steven Larson and all these guys. So it's an honor to be here. And man, shout out to Carla White. She's awesome too. But so what I do is I'm a guy who sells beats. So I'm a hip hop producer, and basically my audience is rappers and singers. And I create the instrumentals that a rapper or singer would rap or sing on. And that's sort of where it all started, and it's kind of grown from there. But that's essentially a dude who sells beats. And by the way, not to be annoying, but the sound, I'm a sound guy, so I gotta mention it. It's doing a weird thing where every once in a while it's cranking up a little bit too high. I don't know if we got to bring that gain down a little bit. I know we're trying to get it dialed in before, but every once in a while,
this is a recurring theme. That's so weird, dude. How does it sound now?
It's weird. It'll sound good, and then it'll like cross over and start getting distorted for a few seconds.
Man, I'm starting to think it's a software thing.
It might be.
Because I've recorded on this mic a lot. So
cool. Well, I can understand what you're saying, but
cool. Awesome. We'll just have to do that in post-processing. So yeah, man. So when did you start? Like, how long ago, like your first time when you started selling beats, like how long has this journey been for you?
Oh my God, it's been a long journey. I've actually been in this for like 20 years as far as making beats and, trying to make a living of it, I should say. It's been about 20 years, pretty much since, since about, I think 2000 is about when I started. So it's been a really long journey. And for the first like 10, 12 years, I was doing it kind of the traditional way, like the way that I thought you had to do it, which was basically to try to sell my music to the record labels, or at least to the artists that were signed to those record labels. And so that's a really hard hustle. Like that's a tough game to play. It's one where you hear no a million times. And I actually did better at it than most people do, which I'm super grateful for, where, I got to work with some big artists and stuff, and got to hear my songs on the radio and TV and all this stuff that seems really cool, except for the problem was I was still broke. Like I was barely making any money. It was super inconsistent. I lived at my dad's. Luckily, he let me stay there, and but I couldn't afford anything. And it was about 5 years ago when I was like, all right, it's time. I got to get a real job. This is not working. I love music, but I can't provide for myself, let alone if I want to provide for anybody else in life. And wasn't feeling too great about myself and was ready to give up. And then thought, well, maybe I could try doing this online. And then that kind of just opened up a whole new world, and things have really changed since then.
Yeah. What was like your initial like breakthrough or thing that kind of gave you hope, or like you saw an opportunity when you started doing this thing or learned this thing?
Well, at first it was just fun to like not be playing that game of chasing after like the artist or the A&Rs or the guys who work at the labels, because it sucks because you're always reaching out to them and trying to keep that relationship going, and you're just getting rejected over and over. So even though at first I hardly made any money, just the fact that I could kind of put this stuff out and just kind of like see the PayPal notifications coming in, that was like awesome. So that was the first thing. But then not too long after that initial excitement wore off, I was like, okay, that's cool. I just made like $20 here and $30 there, but still not quite going to cut it. And I was sort of modeling after what I saw most other producers doing, because there's literally hundreds of thousands of producers, hip hop producers selling beats online. There's a huge, there's a lot of people trying to do it, and most of them do it about the same way, which is basically to try to grow an audience on Instagram, YouTube, rank for certain keywords in YouTube, and then push that traffic over to like a traditional website type of beat store that you kind of think of if you think of a website where there's like a bunch of links and menus and links out to their social media and a store with their entire library of beats and all these different licensing options. And so that's what I was doing at first. And then eventually I came across a music producer who goes by Anno Domini. And I saw that he was doing things a little bit differently. I didn't really know what it was, started looking into it, and he was using sales funnels. He was using ClickFunnels. And just by kind of learning about that like completely changed my life. I found out about ClickFunnels. I found out about Russell Brunson. I read .com Secrets. And that was when the really big breakthroughs happened and completely shifted everything, my business, my mindset of like, okay, before I thought of myself as kind of just like an artist or a technician or whatever, I'm just the guy who makes beats, to like, no, I think, I actually identify as a marketer, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner. Like, I actually like this stuff, and I think I'm kind of good at it. And, and it was really reading .com Secrets was the thing that made that shift happen.
Yeah, that book is legendary. I always tell people too, like if you're running a business, you have to love the marketing of it, especially nowadays. You want to put a face behind the brand and the product. What was like your first win that you got once you started learning all this stuff? What was the first you implemented and you were like, man, you kind of built off of that win? What was that?
I think probably the first kind of, relatively big win was a sale that I did. It was for Black Friday, and I sort of I was already starting to implement some of the concepts that I learned from Russell, which is basically, the idea of using.
Where were you at that point? Like, how much were you making? How big was your audience, etc.?
Gosh, the first year I started selling beats online, I think I made like $31,000 the whole year, something like that. And then it was the second year when I did this Black Friday launch, and I tried to kind of use some of the, the concept. One of the concepts that Russell talks about is, creating a real offer as opposed to just a product, where you bundle products and services together in a way that's irresistible to your customer. And then sort of just the funnel concept of kind of having, not a bunch of calls to action on each page, but each page basically has, here's the thing I want them to do. And then you kind of walk them through that customer journey, through that sales process. And so I'd started to implement some of that stuff, but I really went for it on that Black Friday. And we ended up doing, I think it was like $10,000 in sales or something, which, at the time was like, to me was insane, like absolutely nuts. And from there, I was really hooked. And then it's definitely grown since then. But that was probably the first time I was like, oh my God, this really works.
Yeah, I'm curious, like tactically, what was it that kind of got all those sales or traffic? Was you doing like paid, organic methods?
Yeah, as far as the traffic on that one, it was a combination of, I'd been building my list. That was one thing. Doing a lot of organic stuff, like just manually, literally like DMing people on Twitter and Instagram, and then eventually using bots and stuff to like DM people on Twitter and Instagram, just saying like, hey, I'd love to work with you. Here's a link to some free beats to get started. Then they'd opt in, and then they, from there, now they'd be on my list. And so I'd been doing that for a while, and so I had a decent sized list. And it was something that people just weren't doing in my industry yet. I mean, even 3 years later, there's not so many people, and it's just as of the last few months, now I've launched this whole course and stuff, and it's starting to shift, which is really cool, but it's something that nobody else was doing. So first, just having the list really, really helped. And that was the biggest thing that I was able to drive traffic at that time. I think I was maybe just getting started with Facebook ads, but it was really just the fact that I had built that list was the main thing. And then that sales process was something that my customers had never seen. They hadn't seen that idea of bundling together, like, oh, here's a great deal where you can get, 50 beats, in a bundle, plus mixing and mastering, plus promo, plus like all this kind of stuff. They had just never seen that idea. And so I think it just worked really well.
Yeah, I think it's one of the biggest things, man. Like if you can make sales or the sales aspect of whatever you do fun, like it'll increase your sales.
Absolutely.
Like a lot of people buy, dude, and it's I've learned this, like it's just the dopamine, Like I don't know if you heard that story about when Macy's had the Apple guy come in to kind of redesign their floor.
Yeah, was it J.C. Penney or something like that?
Yeah, or JCPenney, sorry.
Yeah.
He took all the fun out of sales because he made all the prices like it wasn't 99, it was just even dollar signs, and there wasn't like discounts or coupons. Like you got to make it fun. Like you got to build in that dopamine. So cool, man.
Yeah, no, it's funny. It's like I feel like you think as a consumer that you don't like all that stuff. Like, just tell me the price, just whatever. But like in reality, it is actually fun to be like, oh, here's the real price, but you get the discount because you have the coupon. Like that stuff is actually fun. And I mean, now I'm conscious of it more. So now I really like it because I really want to see. But people love that stuff. Like,
yeah, I mean, every like provider does that. Like Uber Eats, like I'm always trying to find that deal, even though I know like they're just doing it for the sake of it, but like, it's just fun, dude.
It's fun. It's great. It's a great game. It's a fun game to be. And now I love it because I love being on both sides of like, okay, here's what they're doing. That's cool. That's the fun part of how they're selling. And then of course I love being on the other side of it of like putting together the marketing campaign and stuff. So yeah,
nice.
Make it fun.
So I'm curious because you mentioned this before our interview, some growth hacks you used using contests and giveaways. Contests and giveaways are big. Like that's something that we implement usually in some campaigns. And also recently, there's this, I don't know if you saw the Democratic debate. I didn't, but I just saw one part of it where this guy, Andrew Yang, he did a giveaway. His whole thing is he's promoting the freedom dividend where he gives every American $1,000 a month. But he did a giveaway like, hey guys, I'm giving 10 people in America $1,000 a month for a year. Just go to his website and sign up. He got like 500,000 signups and over $1 million like that day in donations. And I'm like, none of these other politicians are like good marketers. They're not really promoting anything. So I was like, how are they giveaway? So for you, man, how have you leveraged giveaways and contests, and how does that fit into your current strategy?
So I've got sort of two versions of this that have both worked really well. One's a little bit simpler. One's a little bit longer, so I want to kind of show you both of them. The longer one I'll get to second, but that's the one that now my whole sort of Black Friday launch that now I've done a version of that, for the last 3 years. And last year, my goal was to do the first 6-figure launch in my niche. Nobody had ever done, a 6-figure launch selling beats online. And that was my goal. And we actually ended up doing over $200,000 in sales in a week, selling beats online, which is like, people didn't think that was possible. I wasn't sure if that was possible. But part of it was having this whole contest in front of it. So let me back up and give my first version of the contest / giveaway, but just a little teaser for the other one. So one version is one that I just finished running one of these on my Instagram account, Legion Beats. And it's pretty simple where actually, if I share my screen, will you be able to see it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool.
You guys are on the podcast, go to YouTube.
Cool, and I'll explain what I'm doing too. So this is just on Legion Beats, and I'll read what it says here. So it says, rappers and singers, we're doing a massive giveaway. Here's how to enter. Step 1, tag 3 rapper/singer friends on this post. Step 2, follow at Legion Beats, at Anodon Beats, at Twan Beatmaker. So I've found 2 other people who have my same audience. Step 3, enter your email at legionbeats.com/enter, link in bio. Get 5 free beats just for entering. And then I list all the prizes they get, and some of the specifics. And so it's just, let me turn off this.
Stop sharing.
Stop the sharing.
Okay.
So it's pretty simple. So basically the idea is you're incentivizing other people to tag other people that are in your potential audience. And so a couple pieces of that. So first of all, in both the image and the text, I call out who I want, right? I want rappers and singers. I don't want anybody to enter this contest. And then as far as what I'm giving away in that contest, this is super important. You don't want to give away like an iPad or something, right? Because then everybody's going to enter your contest, not your target audience. So you want to make it like as specific to your target audience as possible. So for me, I'm giving away beats. I'm giving away a microphone. We were doing like shout outs on our Instagram. So it's like stuff that's specifically like, hey, if you're interested in beats, you're going to be interested in beats, right? It's like a no-brainer. But it's also irresistible to them. So it's got to be both. It can't just be like, here's something that is not exciting, but is going to be interesting, but will filter out your audience. It's got to be both. It's got to be exciting, but specific to your audience. So that's kind of the first thing.
And I'm curious, the 2 people that you have to say follow, are they part of this giveaway too, as in they're posting as well? Is that kind of the thing?
Yep, exactly right. So we're kind of leveraging a few things. One is each other's audience, right? So we're competitors essentially. We all have the same audience. We're all people who sell beats online.
You shared like the list that comes from that as well. Okay.
Yep, exactly. And the way that I have it, yeah. So that's the first thing, is that we're leveraging each other's audience. So we all post that at the same time. So now hopefully as many people as possible who see any one of those is now going to follow all three of us, because that's the rules for them to enter, right? So just immediately you're already leveraging each other's audience. And then the second part is that the rules to enter is follow those three, but then follow three friends that you have that rap or sing. So now hopefully they're going to tag three people, at least one or two or three of those people are going to tag three people, and it's kind of this viral type thing. And so you could keep it really simple where it's just, hey, just follow us, and that's the whole rules, and that's it. I've seen that version where you just want to, grow that following on Instagram. And then you can, obviously from there, now you've got that audience, and then you can direct them wherever you want. But I suggest, and this is how I do it, is that part of it is that I actually get them to opt in. So I have the link in my bio where it's like, hey, go opt in. Now I'm getting them on my email list. And from there, I'm actually pushing them to Messenger as well. So I'm really I'm capturing them on as many platforms as possible at once. And I do share that list. Like I've got it set up where basically the people who opt in, those emails get sent to a spreadsheet. So like if the other guys want it, honestly, I don't even know if they're leveraging that or not, but I set up the contest. So I've got it set up how I want. I'm not too worried about it.
You're the marketer.
Yeah, exactly. And so just that alone, has been really good for us, where I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but I know we like the first day we posted, I think we got like 1,000 followers, which for us, we're not like huge, so for us, that was really, really big. And we got a lot of opt-ins. It was somewhere around as well. Whereas normally we'd pay, whatever it is, $1 per lead on Facebook or something. We're getting all those for free. So that's kind of version number one. Did I explain that? Any questions on that? Does that make sense?
That's awesome. I mean, I have a few questions, but I think the key takeaway there, because I see some people who start out, they kind of flop with their giveaway, and it's because they're not collaborating and they're not involving other people in a similar niche. Like that's the key. If you don't have a following, like work with other people who are at your level or at least a little bit above. I think that's the big thing there that most people are missing. So that's a big hack.
Definitely. And I've seen a version of that where it is just, hey, just follow me and tag three friends. And if you already have a big following or you already have a big email list and you're pushing there, it can kind of work. But I think do
you ever try paid traffic to it? Or is it
Yes. Okay. Yes. And actually the version that's worked really well for that specifically is swipe up ads, which for me, when I've done like specifically swipe up ads, I actually didn't get, it was kind of expensive. Not specifically. I did swipe up ads where it was just like me on there, just being like, hey, we're doing this contest, we're giving away a microphone and some beats, swipe up to enter. And that was killing it. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but that worked really, really well.
As a swipe up to the landing page?
In that one, I had them swipe up to a landing page. If you're doing a version where you didn't have them opt in, you could have them swipe up to that post or swipe up to your profile and say, hey, just check the, one of the recent posts or something like that. But I did have them swipe up to the opt in that case.
Gotcha.
And then what happens when they opt in, the opt-in page, there's a picture, it looks just like the post. So now it's like, okay, congruency, they recognize where they came from and it looks good. They enter their email. Page number 2 says, great, step number 2, click here and tag three friends on this Instagram post. And it goes back to that Instagram post. So it does a couple things. One is if they came from there in the first place, it's a little bit circular, but they can figure it out like, okay, I already did that. But the other thing that's nice is since I set that up, if they came in through somebody else, like let's say, one of those other 2 guys, now that link on that thank you page is going to my post on my Instagram. So I ended up getting the most from it because a lot of people would like tag on one of those other 2 guys, but then they opt in. They're like, okay, well, let me click this. And then I would get that as well.
Gotcha. Okay. That's super ninja. Cool, man. And I think definitely another big takeaway is you want to make the giveaway items similar to what your ideal avatar is. Because then if they're interested in beats, then they're definitely going to, the odds that they're going to buy your beats are high. So based off of that, how much is email marketing? Like, I'm sure it's a big thing for your business model, correct?
Huge. Yeah. Email's been huge. And Messenger as well. Both of those have really, really helped.
Okay. How are you navigating bots now? Like, I know there's a lot of changes and, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not my specialty so much, so I'm a little nervous about it. So I can't speak too much on it because I think I need a little help now to make sure I'm staying compliant because I know it's changing and I think it sounds like it's even changing again. So I'm not positive. I know it's been amazing. So maybe at least one lesson that I can say that I did that I recommend is just like if there's a new technology, a new platform, just hop on it because usually the earliest days are the best. Even if it's like that. So I remember I first heard about Messenger, marketing when they opened that up a couple years ago, and there's nobody else in my space doing it. So it was like amazing, crushing it. And it used to be just the Wild West. You could just, I had whatever 50,000 plus people on my Messenger list, and it used to be I could just send out whatever I want to like 50,000 people, and like it's not like an email. Like their phones would buzz and it would like pop up. It's like incredible. And the whole time I'm like, there's no way like Zuckerberg's just gonna let me do this forever. Like I know it's gonna change.
Yeah.
And I think it's still gonna hopefully still be good. They're just regulating it a little bit more. But I would say one lesson there is just, hey, if there's something new, just hop on it, even if it's a new feature. Like when Instagram first started doing live or they first started doing stories or IGTV, they usually really want people to use that. So they'll usually reward you with more organic traffic if you use whatever the new feature is. So maybe that's at least a lesson there.
Like they say, marketers ruin everything. I know that I think they're trying to make Messenger more pay to play, and
yeah,
I heard they're going to be integrating like email and SMS to it too, like some pretty nifty stuff.
Yeah, ManyChat just rolled. They just had a conference in there. They're now in ManyChat itself. You can do email and SMS. I don't know all the details about how it works, but ManyChat is like trying to be a full.
Yeah.
I guess
after seeing what Gary Vee's done with wine text, I'm like SMS is like there's a lot of money there that's untapped. I'm curious. I'm actually going to be interviewing someone next week who's gone kind of mini viral on TikTok. Mm-hmm. I know you're in the music space. Mm-hmm. Have you been messing with TikTok? Like, what is outside of like the little music memes and stuff? How? I mean, are you using it?
Not really. I created one like. I don't know, 2 years ago when it used to be called Musical.ly. I think because I heard Gary Vee talk about it back.
They got bought out or something.
What's that? Yeah, and then it changed to TikTok. But so I'm not actively on there, and I'm sure I need to be. It's just one of 100 things where it's like I can only do that. But that is definitely if I'm going to take my own advice, like I said before, the new platform, new thing. It does sound like, especially for music and probably for everybody, TikTok seems to be the fastest. I don't know about the fastest one, but one of the emerging platforms for sure.
Yeah, it's a whole different algorithm. Like I have friends who have like no followers there, but then they post something, automatically gets 4,000 likes. I'm like, what the hell happened there, dude? Like, I guess it's just the hashtag and what people like. Yeah, it's there's a lot of views happening on there, like on a global scale, which is interesting. Like the guy I'm interviewing next week, he's gotten over like 6.8 million views, and like he has like not a big following. I'm like, what the hell are you doing, dude? Is this just this Indian guy? So cool, man. I got some rapid fire questions.
I don't know how much time we have. I have another version of a contest too. Maybe
let's go
quickly. Which is sort of this is sort of the contest into a launch, which is sort of what I did for Black Friday. And so basically the overall concept is launching a contest where they win a bunch of stuff. And then there's all this pressure, all this buildup, all this excitement. And when we announce the winners, we do like a Facebook Live, an Instagram Live, everything. Everybody's opening up that email. We say, hey, here's the winners. Here's the top 10, blah, blah, blah. But actually, we really appreciate you guys all entering. You guys are all winners because for the next 7 days, you can get this thing, which was one of the prizes that everybody wanted, at this huge discount. And then the cart for that product would open. And then for the next 7 days, that's what they could buy. So that's like big high level overview of what that was. And that's
dude, that's I've never thought about that. I mean, because typically what we've done is like we have something that everybody gets for opting in. I don't know if you've used those softwares like King Sumo where they take different actions to get raffle tickets. Do you only use Instagram?
No, so on that one, it's actually not Instagram. I've been using UpViral, which is another one like a
it's just
there's a Viper, I think. There's a few different ones. Personally, I like UpViral because it integrates really well with ClickFunnels, and you can really like customize it in a lot of ways. But yeah, and so on that one,
you use King Sumo though, or
I'm familiar with it. I've definitely
Okay.
seen it. I haven't actually run a contest on it, but I've seen other people run contests with it. It looks nice. It looks good.
Gotcha.
But it's the same concept as King Sumo. It's just you can really customize it because you just build your pages, your ClickFunnels, on ClickFunnels however you want, and then you kind of integrate it. But basically, the idea is on this one, the way that people enter is they enter their email, and now they're entered, and then they get a unique URL, almost like an affiliate link. But that unique URL, when they share that, they get points for getting other people to enter the contest. So now you're incentivizing your audience to actually pull in leads for you. And on that one, I actually did it where the grand prize winner is whoever got the most points. So now I've got people who are like working almost like an affiliate, where it's like their job now is like, I want this. And I made the prize something irresistible. We did 2 years ago, it was like you win a verse from Snoop Dogg and you get free beats for life, and you get like all this like crazy stuff where it's like, oh my God, like my target demographic like will go crazy for this. So now it's like their job. And now all of a sudden I have all these people. We ended up getting like 40,000 people, I think, to enter that contest. And then that led into that launch.
That's awesome, dude. Like I don't think King Sumo is more based off of the honor system. So they click it and then it automatically raffles, but you can just click everything and not do anything. Yeah. I definitely think that, the fact that it tracks the links, that's super important. That's awesome,
and that's specifically for getting opt-ins. I don't know if there's anything that can accurately say, hey, this person actually
subscribed or like follow you.
But on that one, I just do all the points are just based off of.
But the email, I think, is the most valuable thing.
Absolutely.
100%. Cool. Awesome. I love that, man. Okay. I had another. All right, cool. Let's hop into some rapid fire questions. Unless you guys who are watching live, give me #live. Drop some questions below that you have for Gabe. Super smart marketer. So I want to know, like, I feel like I know the answer actually. Who's your biggest mentor, and what's the number one thing he taught you?
Yeah, I mean, you want take a guess.
RB.
Yes, definitely Russell Brunson. I mean, just the dude literally changed my life. So I mean, I'm wearing a ClickFunnels shirt right now. So yeah, for sure, Russell Brunson. And it honestly would be tough to think of one biggest lesson. But I'd say one for sure is that concept of creating an offer as opposed to a product, where everybody else in my niche basically was selling a product or really a commodity, which was a beat, right? And it's like, yes, every producer, like their beats seem like something special and beautiful and unique, but there's hundreds of thousands of producers selling beats online. So if I'm just another dude selling beats, there's nothing unique there. There's nothing that's going to make them really want to choose me over somebody else. And so instead, I took his concept of creating a true offer of like understanding, okay, who is my customer avatar? Who's my ideal customer? Okay, cool. It's a rapper or singer who's kind of got these hopes and dreams, and that, kind of figure out who that person is. And then what's everything that I can offer them, and kind of bundle that together. And then it's like, okay, cool. Well, they're going to get the beats, but now they need the song mix and master. They're going to need some help with promotion. Maybe they want a community, and kind of putting all that stuff together and creating a true offer. That was the first thing that really changed and where I was able to really differentiate myself and be really successful.
Yeah, 100%. Yes, offer over product, someone says 100%. That's definitely, it's just the best way to get people to buy and get attention and separate yourself from the market. Because it's kind of hard to compare when you see an offer to compare to something else. But when you see a product and a price, you're like, you can easily compare it to some other thing. So, I feel like I know the answer to this question too. Damn it. What's the number one book that you've read of all time?
I think I already said it, right? I mean, .com Secrets, again, it just changed everything. I mean, Expert Secrets also is amazing. So yeah, anybody who's listening.
Traffic Secrets is going to be big. He presented a little bit of it at OfferMind.
Traffic Secrets coming up.
Yeah. Cool. So actually, I'm curious how in your market, and when people follow you, what do you think is important, to build trust and credibility to followers or to people who are buying from you, etc.?
I think one thing is just so like for me, I'm like a marketing nerd now, right? Like I geek out on the numbers, how many options did I get? And I think it's easy to get kind of caught up in that game looking at the numbers and the statistics and kind of forgetting that there's a real person on the other side of that email. Like, we know it, but sometimes we don't really act like it. So, for example, an email, not just sending out an email when I've got my next thing that I'm trying to sell, but making sure that I'm building that relationship. That, for one thing, I'm creating two-way conversation. So, like, one thing that I like to do is, especially in the first email I send somebody, which is usually like, hey, you just opted in for something free, I'll say something like, hey, just hit me back and let me know you got this. Right. And so it does a couple of things. For one thing, it starts a conversation. So now we're building that trust, we're building that relationship. And then that can lead to other places. And it's also another cool little hack. Once somebody's responded to your email, they're essentially whitelisting you. So now, instead of showing up in their spam folder, their promotions tab, Gmail or whatever they're using is more likely to say, oh, these guys are like friends, like they hit each other back. And now the rest of my emails are much more likely to go there. So that's just another thing. Is just trying to make those conversations two ways, and then actually having conversations. And, now I'm at a point where I've got a team. And so a lot of times the emails, they're having conversations with people on my team, but they're still making connection to me and my brand, my company, my team. So.
Yeah, that's definitely an important hack. Like, we do that as well. Just say like, hey, if you got this, just say I got it. And our open rate's like 30% right now, which is pretty sweet. Cool, man. So I appreciate you coming on here, dropping some bombs. You definitely shared some cool tactics that I haven't heard as far as for contests and giveaways, man. So I appreciate you. If you guys are listening, shout him out. Go follow Gabe. Is there anywhere else you want people to follow you? I know on IG, it's what was it on IG?
It's at Legion Gabe. That's like my personal Instagram. So yeah, follow me there. If you happen to be a dude who wants to sell beats online, go to legionproducers.com. And I've got a whole thing where I'll teach you how to do that. But otherwise, yeah, follow me at Legion Gabe. And if you want to just kind of see some of this stuff, if you go to legionbeats.com/giveaway, that contest is not actually currently running, but you can see what that post looks like. It redirects to my Instagram. It redirects to that post specifically, that first kind of contest I was talking about. And you can see exactly what it looks like. And if you want to model after it, I don't care. You can just copy and paste it and switch out some things if you want to run a contest like that.
Awesome. Cool, man. And I'm sure you'll be at Funnel Hacking Live next year.
Absolutely.
So a lot of people who listen here, they're funnel hackers too. So, connect with Gabe, see him in person at Funnel Hacking Live, see me in person too. If you like this episode, share this on Instagram, tag us, both of us on Instagram. We'll repost it. And yeah, dude, I really appreciate you coming on, sharing a lot of cool tips. Literally the stuff that's gotten you to like 2 Comma Club Award and super success. A lot of you guys can apply it to what you're doing and get the same results. So, dude, appreciate it. And any last things you want to share?
Man, I just appreciate you having me on. And yeah, thanks. Anything you need, hit me up.
Cool, man. I'm going to end the live, and peace out, guys.